The sea does not forgive. One moment it is calm and glittering under the sun, and the next it rises up like a living beast, ready to swallow ships and cities whole. In the heart of that endless, shifting power stands one god, unpredictable, relentless, and feared by all who sail his domain, Poseidon, god of the sea. Before he became lord of the oceans, Poseidon was not a quiet ruler waiting for a crown. He was one of three brothers born from chaos and war: Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon, gods who survived the fall of the Titans and stood together at the edge of a new world. But when the dust of battle settled, another conflict began. Who would rule what? The sky, the sea, the underworld. Each realm held unthinkable power, and each brother had the strength to claim it. By fate or by chance, Poseidon took the sea, not a gentle blue coastline, but a vast, violent kingdom stretching into the unknown. With a three-pronged trident in his hand, he became master of storms and waves, the one who could summon calm, or call forth tsunamis that crushed entire fleets. But power over the ocean also meant endless struggle. Clashes with his brother Zeus, rivalry with other gods, and constant conflict with mortals who dared to challenge, defy, or forget the will of the sea. This is the story of Poseidon, not just as a god with a trident, but as the storm itself. When the titanomachy ended and the roar of war finally faded, Poseidon stood shoulder to shoulder with Zeus and Hades as one of the three who had brought the old world to its knees. The Titans were gone, but the question of what came next was anything but simple. The universe was broken into pieces: the sky, the sea, the underworld, and the earth in between. Each brother was powerful enough to claim everything, and yet none could truly rule alone. So they cast lots, letting chance or fate decide. Zeus drew the sky, endless and bright. Hades drew the underworld, silent and shadowed. Poseidon's share was everything in between: the oceans, seas, rivers, and the deep blue unknown. At first glance, it looked like a fair division, but the sea was not a quiet kingdom. It was a living, restless force, never still for more than a moment. By taking the sea, Poseidon did not just accept a realm. He accepted a wild, unpredictable burden. His weapon, the trident, became the key to that realm. With a single strike into the waves, he could call forth storms that rose like walls of water, smashing ships as if they were toys. Another gesture, and the sea would lie flat and shining, a mirror of calm stretching to the horizon. Sailors quickly learned that their lives depended on his moods. Before every voyage, they whispered his name, poured wine into the water as an offering, or prayed on their knees at the shoreline, hoping that the god of the sea would guide them instead of destroy them. But Poseidon's story was never just about waves and storms. It was also about pride, rivalry, and the fragile line between respect and insult. Even after the realms were divided, Poseidon's relationship with Zeus remained tense. They had fought together against the Titans, but brothers with that much power rarely stay in perfect balance. There were times when Poseidon grew tired of Zeus's rule over Olympus, of orders given from the sky as if thunder was the only language of authority. In some legends, Poseidon even joins conspiracies with other gods, plotting to bind Zeus and strip him of his throne. The attempt fails, of course, but it reveals something essential. Poseidon is not a quiet supporter. He is a god who will challenge even his own blood when he feels slighted. On Earth, his rivalries took different forms. One of the most famous was his contest with Athena over the city that would become Athens. Standing before the people, Poseidon drove his trident into the rock, summoning a saltwater spring, a symbol of naval power and far-reaching influence. Athena, in turn, offered an olive tree, symbol of wisdom, peace, and steady prosperity. The people chose her gift. The city became Athens, not Poseidonia. For a god like Poseidon, whose pride was as deep as the ocean itself, that rejection was not easily forgotten. To him, every wave crashing against the Athenian coast could be a reminder of what might have been. Yet Poseidon was more than offended pride. He was the protector and judge of those who lived on and beneath the water. Deep below the surface, hidden from mortal eyes, lay his palace, built of coral and shimmering stone, lit by shafts of green and blue light. Seahorses pulled his chariot. Fish, dolphins, and strange ancient creatures swam alongside him as he patrolled his kingdom. From that throne beneath the waves, he watched everything. Merchant ships crossing trade routes, fishermen casting nets, armies moving along coasts, and monsters stirring in the dark. and there were monsters. Giants of the deep, sea serpents that could wrap around a ship and crush it in seconds, creatures born from chaos or sent as punishments by other gods. Sometimes Poseidon unleashed these terrors as instruments of his anger, like the sea beasts sent to ravage coastlines when kings broke oaths or disrespected the gods. Other times, he restrained them, keeping the worst horrors of the deep chained far below, so that the balance of the world would not be lost. His relationship with mortals was just as complicated as his rule over them. Heroes often crossed his path, sometimes as allies, sometimes as enemies. Some were his children, born from unions with mortal women or nymphs, and he granted them strength, courage, and favor at sea. Others earned his hatred. A single act of arrogance, one careless insult, or an offense against his sons or sacred animals could doom even the greatest of heroes. To insult Zeus might bring thunder. To insult Poseidon could mean never seeing land again. For coastal cities and island kingdoms, Poseidon was both a blessing and a threat. A good year at sea, full nets, safe voyages, new trade routes, felt like a sign of his approval. But when earthquakes shook the ground and the sea suddenly pulled back before crashing forward in a devastating wall of water, people whispered his angered name. He was not just god of the sea, he was also the earthshaker, the one whose trident could crack the ground itself. In every part of his story, Poseidon lives in tension between brother and rival, protector and destroyer, calm surface and raging storm. His eternal struggle is not just against other gods or sea monsters. It is against the very nature of power over something that never sits still. The ocean is always moving, always changing, and so is the god who rules it. In the end, Poseidon is not a neat, gentle legend you can fold up and put away. He is as complicated as the sea itself. He stands between calm and chaos, between mercy and destruction, between being a brother in a divine family and a force of nature that answers to no one. Zeus rules the sky where everything can be seen. Hades rules the underworld where everything is hidden. Poseidon rules the place in between, where horizons blur and the line between life and death can vanish in a single wave. For mortals, he is never just a name in a story. He is the unseen presence beneath every ship, the weight behind every tide. When the sea is smooth and the wind carries sails safely home, people thank him. When storms tear masts apart and swallow entire fleets, they curse him or beg for one last chance. Yet whether they love him or fear him, they never forget him. That is the kind of power Poseidon holds. Not constant attention, but constant awareness. As long as humans build ships and live by the coast, they live under his gaze. If Zeus is the symbol of order in the sky, Poseidon is the reminder that the world will never be fully tamed. There will always be depths no one has seen, creatures no one has named, and storms no one can predict. And somewhere in the heart of all that water, a god with a three-pronged trident decides how violent or how merciful the next wave will be. When you hear distant thunder over the sea, or feel the ground tremble under your feet, it may not be the sky you should think of first. It may be the god beneath the waves, the one who never truly sleeps, Poseidon, Lord of the Sea.